live. And we're live. And we're live. Yay! Yay! Everybody's here. Everybody's here. Great and awesome. And what a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful retrouvaille of episode 10. Jesus, what the hell am I doing? Episode 10 of the Daylight Podcast. 10 episodes, man, in over a year. What am I doing? I have no idea, but I have you guys to thank, because you guys have been supporting me all through the process of actually making this happen. Episode 10 is going to be a fun one, because first of all, I've never had this many guests in one sitting. So thank you for making the jump into this adventure. But it's going to be a fun time. It's going to be a fun time. Welcome, everyone. Live, man. Live. Welcome to everyone. Now, for some reason, I'm hearing a double echo in my thing. Give me a second. I just had my YouTube open. I was hearing myself in a double feed.
Oh, I almost did the same thing.
Okay. All right, so I just turned that off. We're back on. See, this is the wonderful world of live. Technical difficulties notwithstanding. Welcome again, fellow friends and fellow viewers and fellow creatives, to episode 10 of the Daylight Podcast. It's going to be a fun time, because it's going to be a very active discussion, because I've a little swayed from photography from the past few episodes, but we're just going to center it back a little bit, because we were just reading in the interwebs, if you've been online these past few days, like, you know, our wonderful friends at Apple and our wonderful little unknown performer called Taylor Swift. Unknown, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, slightly unknown, like this.
Slightly unknown. Has been making waves with her recent open letter to the wonderful friends at Cupertino. And for some reason, that did create a lot of waves in the world of photography, especially with the feedback that she got from, well, I don't know him personally, but he's certainly known now, Jason Sheldon, who actually wrote an open letter as a back feed to Taylor Swift and her missive, in terms of not appreciating how she was basically coming down on Apple for how she was treating independent artists, and paralleling that to how Taylor Swift was treating photographers. Not a spoiler, but I've basically gathered up some for people I know, and I love surrounding myself with the people that are smarter than me and better than me to talk about this subject.
Don't say that. The pressure's high now.
But Coralie, Vivardi, Dimitri, thank you so much for being here. You guys certainly have your fair share of opinions about the topic. I'm sure you guys have read up on the show notes and the articles, and basically, because this thing has been making waves. And I have to say that it's not far-fetched. It's not far-fetched. Everybody has their point. But I really want us to actually delve into, not really on a legal standpoint, because there's a lot of legalese and everything. We're going to talk about contracts. We're going to talk about, provisos, what it's like to go shoot for free and everything, getting your name out there with the dawn of the internet, where it's just like one shot and your photos everywhere. So what do you do? How do you address it? But first of all, let's dive into the main issue of the topic here. Was Taylor Swift out of line, or how did you guys respond to her letter to Apple?
Okay, do we do this by order?
No, go ahead, guys. Go ahead. Okay, James, let's start with you.
All right. Well, first thing, I think it's important to notice that obviously the response that came after from Taylor Swift wasn't actually from her; it was from her agent. So I'm not sure to what extent she's even aware of what kind of photo contracts are negotiated, and when it comes to shooting her, you know how Hollywood works, Hollywood and the entertainment world in general. So you have pretty much a lot of intermediaries dealing with each other. So I don't know if we should really go, okay, Taylor Swift or Taylor Swift's camp, first thing. Second, well, I don't know if we can say that it's hypocrisy in that case, because obviously she, as an artist, she's looking out for herself first, even though she said on the letter it wasn't about her, but she's looking out for herself and then fellow artists. And I almost understand that she wouldn't necessarily think about, oh, okay, but there are artists that are also working with me, and what kind of conditions do they have, And so I think I'm not blaming Taylor Swift, but I kind of understand where she comes from. But at the same time, of course, she needs to be a bit more have a, how to say that, a broader perspective on pretty much, okay, you're criticizing Apple for doing one thing, but on the same time on your account they're doing the same thing. So yeah, so just to launch it, I think you have to put a little bit more perspective on that, and then it goes into a broader topic that, and it's something that personally as a photographer I've had to deal with other artists, whether musicians, dancers, performers, and sometimes they make that same, they have that same narrow vision that, okay, my art is worth something, but the photography is just pretty much a complement of what I'm doing, if you see what I'm saying. So
wow.
So that's a bit like, so I kind of felt it also personally when I was reading it. It's like, because like I said, I've been into that situation as well, you know.
I feel like her decision to write the letter was a bit naive in a sense. Like, I mean, anyway, that's a whole other story with Taylor Swift. She seems to be the kind of person who will do these kind of things without really thinking and not realize what.
But why is it naive? They changed their policy.
Pardon me?
Why is it naive? They did change their policy.
No, but I mean that she would write a letter to Apple without really thinking about what's happening in her camp. You know what I mean? Like that she would be like self-proclaiming this sort of goddess of I'm going to change the way people interact with musicians, etc., and the way we're treated, without actually thinking about, you know, like I think she's very naive in that sense, right? She would write a letter like this without thinking. She's just thinking about what she was trying to say, the statement she wanted to make that was, to a certain extent, publicity as well. I mean, we all know that it's like not, you know, it wasn't just an innocent little, oh, I'm going to do this thing. There's always some publicity involved in all this stuff.
These are not the comments of a petulant child. I like that one.
Pardon me?
No, it's just because I read it over. It's just these are not the comments or the complaints of a petulant child.
Yeah.
Really?
He does say that.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
It does come off as very petulant.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree, but at some point I do agree with her, and I actually don't agree with.
Yeah.
I don't even remember his name, but I don't agree with his letter at all. Like I totally agree with her point, and I think the reason why I don't agree with the second guy, what's his name again?
Jason Sheldon.
Jason Sheldon.
The reason I don't agree, first of all, I don't think it's the same situation. The fact that he's putting the same situation as if they were the same is not true at all, because Apple is selling music, is a platform to sell music. So the fact that they decide to give a 3 month for free for their users has nothing to do with the fact that the music that they be free, or like the people that the artist should not be paid for it. That's not the same situation as an artist who's performing and you're taking your picture of that artist, and then you want to be compensated for or own the rights for the. Like if you want to make a point for the photographer's right, you can do it, but it's not the same situation. Like it's not because the two of them are rights that you can say that. Yeah, well, you ask Apple to pay for you, but you don't allow the photographers to use their rights. It's not the same situation.
But Viv, what I think the parallel he was trying to make was basically artists, the abuse of the rights of the artist in terms of, because Taylor was reprimanding Apple for taking advantage of that 3-month period, and she does make a point. She does make a very valid point. Like, okay, for this 90-day period, if I'm Taylor Swift, if I'm Madonna, if I'm Cher, if I'm Usher, if I'm, dare I say his name, Bieber, I can afford to just, like, you know, offer 3 months streaming to all my fans. Sure, fine, I'll make it up in tour dates. But if I started up right now and I put out my CD right now and gave it to Apple, and to know that for 90 days I'm not making money off a track that is probably really hot, and after that I might have to make up the dividends, it's not going to work. In terms of the same thing, what I read from his letter, and where I have to actually, you know, take the photographer's perspective, you walk in, and because I'm not sure, because he talked about 2011 version versus the 2015 version.
Yeah, but you have to see what happened. You also have to see what happened during that time. I think it was Jared Polin who said, the guy from Frono's Photo. Like, you remember the photography from Beyonce's concert at the Super Bowl, where the guy published all the crappy pictures of the artist. let's be honest, if you take pictures of a concert, the reason why people buy pictures from you is not because of your talent as a photographer, which they have to be nice pictures, but they buy pictures because of the artist that's on the stage. If you take photography at that level, like I'm not talking about your friend who plays in a cafe and asks you to take pictures and then wants to use them for free.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, why I don't think the same situation are the same is that people will go buy album on Apple because there are artists that put music on their platform. But if you go take at a concert, the reason people will buy your pictures is because of Taylor Swift.
But it
Does
doesn't.
that mean that in that case your photography is like it's like a byproduct, like so it's not as worthy. Like I understand the point I'm trying to make, but if you could go a bit deeper into, because to me that doesn't really change the aspect of how the rights are managed, though. I see what you mean, but I don't. It's,
yeah, I think the point that is trying to be made in terms of the photographer trying to parallel that situation. I think the point he's trying to make isn't necessarily how Apple is abusing and how Taylor Swift is abusing. I think it's more the idea that if you're finding a certain abuse that's being done to your work, then you should look at the abuse you're doing to other people's work. No matter what kind of abuse is, it's not the same. The parallel is a bit difficult because it's definitely not the same situation. It's not at the same level.
Talk about the rights of photographers, but the fact that he made as if it was actually exactly the same, I think is wrong because it's not the same at all. And the other thing is that I don't know, it's not like he was talking about. I'm sure the picture on the Taylor Swift album, pretty sure she paid for the photographer and she pays for all the rights.
Yeah, he mentions that.
Yeah, but then so.
No, because the point he was trying to make in the contract when it said the way it's written in the legalese, unless I'm mistaken, because I read that sucker pretty often. It's like, okay, I can only take pictures for the second and third song. You buy the one photo, whatever amount of photos you're gonna buy from me, and then I can't. You're free to do whatever you want with the photos, non-commercial use. Which, as we all know, just means marketing, non-commercial use, and it clearly says, you can do whatever you want for perpetuity. I love that word, perpetuity. You own the photo. You can do whatever the hell you want, but I can't resell it, can't promote it, can't reprint it, can't publish it. I can't do anything else. It clearly says it, and that's what I believe everybody was up in arms about because, kind of a bit of aggressive for a right to take photos for an artist. Of course, some people, Lady Gaga, unless I'm mistaken, apparently she basically buys the rights to all the photos that's taken. A lot of artists take a lot of extreme measures to control the rights to the photos they're taken at the concerts. You want to protect your image, yeah, great, but like you said in the title of the episode, like my work has to have some worth. I have to be able to not just monetize, but hey, I work for the damn thing. Just saying.
I agree, but on the other hand, it's a private concert. Like, it's their image to control.
Private, Viv. Come on.
A concert is you have to pay.
I paid to attend the same way everybody else paid to attend. The only difference, I'm shooting. Exactly. Oh, I love this one too. Did you guys read that? Their security or their people, whatever, have the right to actually smash my equipment.
Like you say, they have the right to smash your equipment. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think my issue with this situation is not necessarily the fact that, like, the rights, whatever rights, etc. My issue with it is the fact that, okay, so you pay me for the job, which is fair enough. That's the way it works. You hire me, I come, well, actually, the company I work for sends me to photograph. You know, the photographs are approved, whatever, etc. Fine, I get paid. That's fine. So far, this situation is fine. This is the way it works in editorial photography. You're hired, you go, you shoot, you give the photos, you're good to go, and that's the end of it. Except all the outshoots of those editorial shots, all the ones that were not used by the magazine that hired me or by the company that hired me, I'm allowed to use them for self-promotion. I may not be able to sell them, and that's fine too. I'm okay with not being able to sell them. And it's not even, at this point, it's not even a question of monetizing the work via me. It's the fact that I'm not able to use them even for my own portfolio. Fine, okay. I'm not able to do that, but you can take them and you can monetize them. And you claim that you're not taking my copyrights, and you claim that I still own copyrights. Yet I can't even look, like, I'm not even, like, might as well put them in a safe and never look at them again, because I can't do anything with them. Whereas you can go and do whatever you want with them, whether it's to generate money or not. You know what I mean? And I think that's where the issue comes into play, is that, like, if Apple can play my music, fine, it's only 3 months, fair enough. But if they can play my music for 3 months without, like, me having any form of control over it, like, I have no control over that situation. The situation is, if I want to have my music on iTunes, I have to deal with the fact that these people have decided without any previous notice, because let's say I've been playing, my music's been available on iTunes for years, and without previous notice, suddenly they decide that I'm not worthy of getting the pay for it. You know what I mean? I think this is where
you're gonna pay for them.
I don't think it has anything to do with it being the exact same situation, but I think the parallel is in the sense of, where are my rights as an artist in that situation?
I agree with everything you just said about the photography part, and I think that's what you should have done. Talk about those issues. Can an artist who performs take all those rights away from a photographer? I just hate the way he did it, and because it has nothing to do with her or how she, or what she wrote to Apple. I don't think they're the same situations at all.
Oh, I see your point, Nancy. I see your point. Okay.
I see your point. Yeah, it's the way that he presented it. Maybe he has a grudge against her. Maybe he did get his camera smashed or something.
I think use Taylor Swift more than Taylor Swift used Apple for a publicity stunt, because nobody knew this guy before. Everyone knew Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
And the difference
it's a nice wave to ride on. That's, I have to say.
And at the end, Apple are gonna pay the artist, and photo contracts are not changing.
Photo contracts are not changing.
She had more effect.
Photo contracts are not changing.
Yeah.
Well,
if I want to segue, I'm sorry. Because again, I just was going to segue because again, it's not that we're scripted, but I just want to ask you guys an open question here. What is happening right now to us in terms of how we relate to the bit? We're just staying in the realm of event photography, but are we just basically, like, you know, selling our? Because we always have to come to the wall of, like, okay, I'm going to sell my soul for the purpose of getting my name out there. Like, when is it enough? Like, how much? Okay, I'm not going to use the word abuse, but it's so easy to have the public consider what we do as secondhand, second-rate, or just totally disposable. I'm like, seriously, like, what? Like, come on. How much is enough? Like, when are we actually going to stand still and say for a second, like, you know what? This has to stop. Where people just consider the photographers, oh, it's back up.
Yeah.
I think it's... Go ahead,
it's very... Oh, sorry, Jim. Go ahead.
No, fine. It's fine. Go ahead.
I think it's very difficult because there are so many people who not are responsible, but there are so many of us having to take a stand, and it would be impossible to control the people who are like, in a sense, like, if I get approached for something which I think is worth a certain amount of money and people don't want to pay me or want to pay me peanuts, I refuse it. You know, and I mean, Dimitri, I know you've done that, and it's possible. Like, you can take a stand. This is how you take your stand, is by refusing contracts that way. Unfortunately, there's, like, this asshole, who's going to take it for cheaper or for free because he's going to fall for the it's good for your promotion type of situation. So it would have to mean that every single up-and-coming photographer, kid photographer, amateur photographer, student photographer, no photographer with a camera refuses these gigs. Because unfortunately, anyone who has a camera now, who can read a book and who has a membership to Lynda or Creative Live, taken classes, can take photos without having had any form of training before, who might never have taken a single shot in their life, but have like the crazy training and they're fucking, excuse me, they're bright and brilliant, and then someone approaches them and says, you have a good camera, can you take an event for us for free? When you just refused that event.
We just refused.
You know what I mean? It's going to happen. So I don't even know how, like, the solution to this, like, at this point, I'm just like, I'm not, I just refuse what I don't want to take, and that's the end of it, and too bad for me in the end, right?
You were going to say something, James?
Yeah, Verdi and I had this discussion that what we should do is some sort of like a cartel. We should like all get together and have like set prices for I don't know, weddings. That's a minimum price and a roof price.
You don't go under this bar.
Exactly, and then everybody agrees to that, and then at the end, where we would differentiate between us would be like our style, etc. Things that actually should matter, you know. Because, like Ali said, it's pretty much you're never going to be able to control like exactly like you said. I get offered, I don't know, $500 for an assignment. I say no, this is ridiculous. It's not worth it. The next guy that has a Rebel just has a Canon hater. I'll just put that out there. Somebody that has a Rebel and shoots on auto. It's like, hey, you have a nice camera. How much you do it for? I'll do it for $50. Okay, done. You know.
There you go, done.
But I think it's getting worse than that, because I used to, in the beginning, I used to tell myself at least he's going to do a crappy job and that person will learn that you cannot hire a photographer for cheap. But what I saw is that people don't care with the pictures.
I was going to get to that. Thank you, Viv. Thank you, Viv. I was going to get to that, but come on, further the point. I was going to get to that. Go ahead.
Yeah, but so the fact that they don't see that the pictures suck or that they don't care, it's like they really don't see the difference. At least before you could tell people, okay, you want to pay $75 for your wedding for a photographer, you're gonna have crappy pictures. But I had someone told me like a few months ago, but what's the point of having great nice pictures? Nobody shows them anyways. I'm like, yeah, they don't show them because they're crappy pictures.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a revolving
circle.
There's your point.
It's a vicious circle.
Your point. And that's where I believe we've also shifted, because there's also on the opposite, because it's two sides of a very, very crappy coin. Because you have the photographer up and coming, trying to get his name out there, who basically like, you know what, I will do whatever it takes to get my photography out there. I'll take a few free gigs. I will just lower the bar. I'll do it for free. I'll shoot for free. And again, I have to raise my hand because I've done it. I have to. This is my personal truth. I've done it myself. You know, I've done some gigs, and even like with a certain blog that will remain unmentioned, Zims. That was a mistake. But just for the sake of getting my name out there, and again, there's misrepresentation. There's just siphoning your work. There's legalese that you don't read, and there are mistakes that you have to learn from. And then with maturity and a very good hindsight, you tell yourself, no. Even if you're starting out, you have to set your standards. Otherwise, the paying for free and being a crappy photographer and going to that guy because he did a gig, because again, your name goes out there. They will let people know that, oh no, he shot my wedding for $50. Wow. And then you have the other side of the coin where you have the clientele that basically does not care about quality. They just want a guy with a camera because, hey, who cares? I got my iPad, I got my iPhone. I'll ask everybody to just email me the photos anyway.
Yeah, it's very hard to get people to understand the worth of your work. It's very hard because not a lot of people understand the kind of work that photographers do. Like, I mean, if we're talking about like high-level editorial work, for sure, like they know. I mean, they work with photographers all the time. But when you're talking about weddings and events and what's it called, portraits and family stuff, people don't realize the amount of work that go through it, and they really literally expect it to be like, I take a photo and I print it out and I give it to you, and that's the end of it. And it's so much more work and people don't understand it, I remember once in one of my classes we talked about that a lot, and then one of the teachers was saying something like, she was like, you just have to, yeah, for sure, maybe your first 2-3 gigs you're doing them for free because you want portfolio work, and in order to get paid work you need to show what you can do. But then by then, when people refuse to pay for the amount of work that they require, then you show them what they're willing to pay, what they get. You know what I mean? Like if someone's like, you know, you charge, let's say you charge $1,500 for a wedding, and then they're like, oh, I can't pay more than like $500. Then you're like, okay, I'll take 2 photos of you kissing. That's what I can do for $500.
I can do for 500.
You know, I have, and you don't even need to get into details. I have gas, I have this, I have that, I have camera, I have this.
No,
and
past a certain
like,
point.
okay, 500 is worth literally 3 photographs. If you want to pay 500, this is what I can give you.
Yeah, I think that's a good approach to when the person, because a lot of times when the people ask me, okay, so how much do you charge for this? I ask them, what is your budget? Like, what are you expecting or that? And then they'll answer something, and then I will do like Coralie just said. I'll say, okay, for that, this is what I can do. And then a lot of the times they'll be flabbergasted, like, what? You mean you're gonna be there for 30 minutes? And then, but I'm gonna make an analogy with my other job, because you know that I work at a bank, and at the bank, one thing they teach us is that, let's say you refuse somebody, you apply for line of credit, for example, and the bank refuses you. They just don't just tell you, okay, you got refused. They will tell you why. They will tell you, okay, during the last 6 months, you were not behaving well with the credit card that you already have, and this is the requirements to get that line of credit. And I think it's the same thing. So I think, like Coralie said, we're not going to start telling them, okay, I bought a $1,000 camera or blah, blah, blah. Although I'll do it sometimes, like, just to be snide, or like if I'm approaching in a way that I find that it's completely like this person does not respect at all my trade, then I can answer something like that, but as in a sarcastic way or whatever. But I think we can have this responsibility that we kind of educate our customers to what is actually quality, because like you already said, not necessarily all the people have taste, or sometimes they don't. Sometimes I'll see what people tell me that, yeah, my favorite picture of yours was that picture, and it's a picture I took in, I don't know, 2007, and I completely hate now. The reason why they like it is because it's over-processed completely, or because it looks like something that they wouldn't be able to emulate with a filter, or and so sometimes you have to go, like when you meet, like especially for weddings, I find that the last wedding that I did actually did this with a wedding planner. Actually went with a lot of wedding pictures that me and my second shooter had taken in the past, and we showed them, and we looked like, okay, the style, the composition, what do we do, like as specific photographers, this is what my style is. So basically then, if I showed you in my portfolio there was a bunch of black and white pictures, then when I deliver you black and white pictures, I'm going to say, oh, can you send me the color versions, please? You know, so I think I think we have to go a little further, and when we're being approached by the customers, to explain to them exactly what it is that we do, to show them samples of what we do, so that they know that they're not hiring a photographer, but they're hiring you, and this is what your style is, this is how you work. And and even further, like we had that discussion with Viverdi as well, is that I think we need to make a better job. Well, I'm talking for myself, and I don't know how you guys feel about that. Setting, like having contracts, but what I mean by having contracts is clear contracts. That let's say, okay, I'm gonna take you this, I'm gonna do this wedding, and I'm gonna send you minimum 200 pictures. So when you send, like, so the customer knows that they're expecting around 200 pictures, because it has happened to me, and I told you this already, that I've sent like 150 pictures, or people that, can you send me even the blurry ones, or the missed ones, or the one that looks stupid? So I think before you get into something, you have to explain to the customer, I will not send you the bad pictures. And then explain why. Like, because when somebody asks you who took these pictures, you say, oh, it's my photographer, it was Dimitri. And the guy's like, those pictures are terrible. So
it's so important to have like a very clear contract. Like, I personally, when I shot a wedding a few years ago, our contract was 6 or 7 pages long, and it explained everything. It explained that you hired me for my work, for my style. You're gonna get my style. You can't request any different kind of style. You know, it has the terms of how many black and white photos you're gonna get, if any. It has the terms of how much I need to be paid before, how much I need to be paid the day of and after on delivery, when it's going to be delivered, how many images. Like, you need to get there. I mean, you need to get to the point of, I am fed at the event, I'm sitting at a table so that I can take photos. If I see one while I'm eating, I deserve a break. You know, like all these things, like if you don't make it clear, people think that you're like little brutes that are gonna work for them anything.
Because it will happen. It will happen if you do outline. If you do not outline your contract to a T.
For example, the last wedding that I just mentioned, the contract was really nice, but we didn't mention, for example, like there was no mention of how the photographers are going to get fed. No, actually, it wasn't that. It was, so I had a second shooter, but on the contract it says a meal. The photographer will have a meal and a seating arrangement, blah blah blah. But I'm like, okay, what about my second shooter? He's just gonna stand there and watching.
Wow.
Like, obviously, it was an honest mistake. The wedding planner was like, no, of course I meant like both of you. I'm like, yeah, but I wanted it right.
Yeah, but it's important to be in writing, so we don't have all that because you need to outline your contract because the contract, and that's the worst thing. That's the worst thing. As far as I'm concerned, the most recent wedding I did. And again, this is not faulting the client because you're right, Dimitri, about the fact that we have to educate our client. It's our responsibility. As professionals, you cannot leave anything to people who do not want to be bothered on their special day. So you can't expect them to think about things that they're not on a regular basis they're going to think of anyway. So clients, for some reason, don't read the contract. They sign, they pay. But for some reason, if you don't take the time to actually read it with them and actually educate them and keep them on a leash, you will have very, very bad experiences. And you really need to outline your contracts like really to a T. Any single ridiculous little detail you can think of, put it in there because it's only going to make your experience better and it's only going to really, really, really give you your back pocket solid. It's like, oh no, this was in the contract. I'm sorry, can't. It's like, oh, so we're going to get the pictures next week, right? No. I gave you no.
And also, I think by doing that, you're not only protecting yourself and avoiding these kind of I don't want to like you don't get like these like questions after a request or whatever, but also it makes you appear more professional because when the person's hiring you, they know then they will see the difference with that other guy that said, hey, I'll do it for $70. That guy will not have a contract. That guy will not. Because $70 is what you would charge just to write the contract. So that guy will not have a contract. So obviously it makes a immediate difference. Like I remember when me and the second shooter we met with the wedding planner. The fact that we had brought I brought an iPad with the portfolio. The fact that I had like not only my wedding pictures but also links to other work. The way that we approached it, oddly enough, the fact that we required a deposit in advance, all of that. In the middle of the discussion, the wedding planner was like, "Yeah, we're actually thinking about hiring somebody else at one point, but I see that you guys know what you're doing, so we're gonna go with you." So I think it's all about and you know sometimes people I don't know I feel like. When you're rejecting a customer, like somebody calls you and say, "Yeah, I have $200 for this assignment. It's not enough." The people sometimes they might take it. Oh, this guy thinks
he's cocky.
He's being cocky, or he thinks he's all that, or whatever. But I think it's necessary to set your limits. You
have a standard.
Otherwise, it's just never
ends.
Like the worst interactions I've had with customers were always ones where I was actually doing the person a favor by either lowering my price or staying there longer. The more you do it, the more it's like that expression.
It backfires. It does backfire.
It completely backfires always.
It does backfire. It's always a double-edged sword because you're trying to do a service because we are in a service industry. We want to give people quality of our profession. We enjoy our art and we just want to promote ourselves. And it's nice to have a backlog and a catalog, build up the portfolio, build a network, get our names out there. But at the same time, you're dealing with people who are just like, because again, the frustration of just having that one guy who gets in your shot. You're setting up the bride, you're setting up the bridesmaids. It's like, okay, everybody look at me here. And you have that one guy.
Uncle Bob.
Uncle Bob with the pop-up flash.
Look at me, look at me, look at me.
Uncle Bob with the pop-up flash.
I'm trying to tell Uncle Bob, I'm getting paid to get this shot. I cannot have the bridesmaid looking here, the bride looking here, and the groom looking here. It doesn't work, Uncle Bob. Like, please. Sometimes you just need to kick those people in the face.
This is more than Uncle Bob. now it's
Elaine
Uncle
and I
Bob and
actually had
every.
a clause in our
What are you
contract.
saying, Viv? What do you mean? What's saying,
It's
Viv?
not only Uncle Bob now; it's every person with their cell phone taking pictures.
Yeah,
And
before it used to be
show
Uncle
you,
Bob.
that just shows you that nobody respects really their photographers because
No,
they
no,
all
no.
think that their picture is as important as yours. And the person, like, when I was at the wedding, I was actually a guest at the wedding, and the people were watching their their family members taking picture with their cell phone instead of looking at the photographer who was
Yeah.
desperately trying to take a picture.
Oh.
And
Yeah.
there's no way those cell phone pictures will be as good as the
No, for sure
photographer.
not. But people
For
don't
sure.
realize that.
For sure.
Like Elaine and I, when we shot our wedding, we actually had in our contract that if any guests would interfere in our photography, we are allowed to tell them to step away, and like that the family should even be responsible for the guest and make sure that the guests step away. We had the wedding that we were shooting. They also were writing an article, a Gazette article on it, so there was a Gazette photographer present.
Yeah, I saw that.
And we had to speak to that person because there were moments where he was starting to hinder our work, and we had to be like, move over, man. If you want images, you'll call us and we'll give you images, but move over. It's gotten to that point where you have to like put a clause, like it's ridiculous.
To put a clause
Actually
in
had a
terms of
clause that I
decency.
wouldn't be liable for if a shot was ruined by a guest. Like
Yeah,
I
that's
did put that
exactly it.
clause in my
No, for me
contract.
that's in writing. For me that's in writing.
Yeah.
That's in writing. There are things I can't
Because that
control,
is
and I'm
so
not going to
bound to
spend my.
happen.
And that's the thing. I put it in my writing. Like it's very lined out. There are things I cannot control. Overzealous guests, people that want to reproduce your shot, people that are just like getting in your shot, people that are disrupting it. I can't control that, nor am I going to try to. I'm going to be polite. I'm going to be courteous. I'm going to please ask you to step aside. Don't worry. I'm going to give you your time to do your shot. I just need to get these done, and then have at it. But nobody listens. But hey.
People don't really they give no importance. It's kind of sad actually, but it's funny because you see at the same time when you think about it, the people who actually give a lot of value to their work and who don't just take gigs for the sake of taking gigs and who don't underprice and who actually set limits and bars are the ones who will last much longer. You know what I mean? In that field, it's like
Oh, yeah,
if you
absolutely, because the other people will get bored eventually.
yeah, it's not their thing anyway, right? They're just doing this because they can, and why not? But at the end of the line, like they're not necessarily going to get more work just because they're cheap. They'll probably skim a few contracts from you, get once or twice a little gig here and there that works. But like when you do quality work, you get work from the other guests who are present.
Absolutely.
When you don't do quality work, you just, you got a contract there, good for you, but you're not going to get referrals. You're not going to get people calling you because they saw your work and they saw you work. The people who will last and survive in that field are the ones who actually commit to doing a good job.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like this summer summer, and we're in Montreal, so that concept is kind of like. But it's true. Like the bulk of my assignments this summer so far have been either returning customers, mostly for the dance stuff, and referrals. Like that wedding that I did was because I had shot something for an organization, and then that lady that works for the organization saw the pictures. So it's definitely. And I think in the long run, we definitely have that advantage. If you're producing quality work, then it will lead to returning customers and referrals. Whereas somebody that doesn't know what they're doing, sure, they'll do 1 for 100, and then that's it,
Yeah.
But agree. Like
go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, because for the last year, I've not marketed myself as a photographer. Like I got really tired of all this business arguing with people about. I got so many requests that was so stupid. I was just I'm just doing photography just for me now, and I actually got more contract since May. I got more contract than I had like the whole summer last year.
Wow.
Because people just look at my pictures and I got referrals and people saw my pictures that what I was doing. Because I just started enjoying more. Because when you get those contracts that you don't really like, and the
You
people make
also
silly
don't.
requests, and you try to make
You
deals.
don't
It's
do your
gonna
best.
show. It's
You
gonna
don't do your
show.
best. You don't do your best. That's
You
for
don't do
sure.
your best. You
Every
don't do your best.
assignment I've taken that I was like, okay, well, this person not paying me a lot, but I'll still do it. I also, of course, you have to maintain a certain level of professionalism. So obviously, like I did, but I did the bare minimum. So like the
Exactly.
pictures were good, but I'm not. I definitely did not like push myself or try to get extra creative or to get like
When it
unique
becomes a
shots. Like,
chore,
especially if it's events, it's event coverage, then okay, I'm just gonna run through the motions, get the pictures of the guests, like classic wide angle, blah blah blah, bang, done.
done.
Whereas if
And you
if
can.
if it's actually a customer that you're like for example a wedding or portrait session and you feel engaged and the customer is interested, then you're gonna go that extra mile, you know, and obviously the pictures are gonna be better.
And
So at
because it's
one
easier
point,
to
I
sell
agree with
your
you,
stuff.
Verdi. Like at one point now, I'm in the position. I think that I'm in that position where if I don't like if I don't think that an assignment stimulates me artistically speaking, if I already see that with the customer it's not gonna go well, I just say no. Like I just don't bother. Like because like, it's your time, man. It's your time, and it's the time that you go to the assignment. It's the editing. It takes a toll, so it has to be worth it. It has to be worth it, not only financially but also artistically, creatively. I think
And
it
it
has
has
to
to
be
be
interesting
worth your time. It has to be worth your time.
because yeah, no, if not, it's not worth it. Like if not, why are we doing this? You know?
And
Yeah,
also, it becomes easier to sell your style or your identity as a photographer if you actually have time and fun doing your
yeah,
photography.
yeah, exactly. That is so true.
As for me, it's like Dimitri was saying, and again, they're not just hiring you for your equipment. They're not just hiring you for what they saw in your portfolio. They're hiring you. Emphasis on you. They're hiring your personality. They're hiring your skill. They're hiring your time, your approach, your personality. And for me, and that's such a good parallel, because I have to say, I had to turn down a lot of contracts over the past year because of all the, the roller coaster thing that happened to me in the past year, which you all know. But the thing is, not just because of that, but also because if you don't think that you're going to bring in the authenticity and drive and commitment that you know you should bring as a professional to your work, you should step away. And nobody deserves, every client, no matter how crappy and unappreciative, deserves a service, you know? And again, if you're not going to bring it to them, do a referral. Do a referral. You know, I've like, you know what? I can't give you what you want, or I'm not going to work for that low. But hey, here are some people I know. Give him a call. Give him a call. But unfortunately, I can't give you what you need. You know. And again, when people hire you, and I tell them that, like, listen, and again, this is very open conversation I have with clients who are again just trying to just like penny pinch on the price. Like, listen, your dressmaker gets paid. Your cake maker gets paid. Your caterer gets paid. The guy who's going to fold the linens at the end of the reception gets paid. I am going to be up earlier than you. I will leave and go to bed probably after you. I will be editing these photos way after you're back from your honeymoon, and I will be doing backups, and I'll be ensuring that these memories will be lasting for a long time.
And all those other people's jobs will be done also.
All those people's jobs are probably going on other gigs. Nobody else will be thinking about your wedding after the day is done. I am. For
And you know
years to come.
that's it.
And
Kind
a
of
lot
goes
of people
back to what
don't
we were saying
appreciate
before,
that.
you know.
And you need to be mindful of that. And for me, and set aside the price and the time, everything I just said. This is time that I'm spending with you and not with my kid, not with my wife. You know, this is time that I'm giving away to you. You can't pay me enough for this. So I have to care. It has to be worth my time. So come on, like seriously, we're human beings. I'm sorry, Dimitri, I
Yeah,
interrupted
no, I
you.
was saying it goes back to what I was trying to say initially about the necessity to educate the customer because sometimes it's just that they don't realize it. You know, I don't know when you're planning a wedding or a baby shower or reception of any kind of event, it seems like the last thing they think about is the photographer. Like they'll start, okay, the cake, the dress, the installation, the setup, the music, and then if there's money left, then the photographer, and then maybe if there's even more money left, a video, you know, and then I think it's where you have to go with that. You have to say, okay, look, I understand that you want to be beautiful on your wedding day, that you have a beautiful dress, that you spend X amount of money. I understand that the cake is important, But what will stay at the end is the pictures, you know.
Yeah.
Like, what
To keep the
20
flowers
years down the line, if you're still married, statistically you have one chance out of two. But it's just a joke. But
You're so mean.
no, it's just a joke. Like I love weddings, but just to say, like, so that this is what is gonna be left, you know. So I
Yeah,
think
the
when you
pictures of
put
the
it in
dress, the
that
pictures of the
perspective,
cake.
and then you have the pictures of the cakes and pictures of the dress and the setup, so everything will still live through your pictures. And sometimes just that the people don't necessarily realize it, so it's up to us to remind them of that, you know,
Yeah.
to remind them, well, look, this is what's gonna stay.
And they don't
Yeah.
take that into account when they should, and it should. And that's why we have the responsibility to remain patient, you know, and to just let people know that, you know, it's definitely worth your time to actually consider who you're going to entrust taking the photography of one of the most important days in your life following, you know, births and stuff. Because again, it's just when you get caught up in all the preparations and, oh my God, it's so beautiful, it's like, no, you really need to take into account who's going to be preserving those memories for you. But seriously, it's we could go on about this for hours, guys. Seriously.
Absolutely.
But we're gonna wrap it up here again because I know we all have lives. But man, it was such an interesting discussion, man. Because again, like I said, it was totally unscripted and unplanned and everything. Of course, we talked about the Taylor Swift issue at length. I don't know where this is gonna go. I think this is gonna die out because again, he said, like you said, Viva, there's just one guy, just ranting. Again,
That's how the internet works. Things go up, everybody's talking about it, and then next week we have moved on to something else.
Yeah.
Something else. Taylor Swift is still gonna get paid, and again, like you said, Koadi, it is a lot of marketing for 1989. It's just still pulling the strings because you know you have. That's basically supply and demand because again, she holds the purse strings and she's got clout. She's got clout. You know.
And it's also the fact that he gave more importance to Taylor Swift than to his point.
Yeah.
The photographers.
Yeah. It's true.
Like, if you want to talk about photographers right, talk about photographers right. Stop talking about Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
It was a good way to go about it. I get, like you said, you know, it's not what he said basically, but it's just the way. Again, if you had to peel layers to actually get to what he wants to say, and that's basically where he missed the ball. Where you're trying.
You could have made a link with the whole thing. Just say like Taylor Swift talk about the musicians right. I think it's a nice opportunity to talk also about the photographers right, and just go.
There you go.
But he made this as if he was mad at Taylor Swift.
Yeah, I'm sure he has a grudge against her. I'm sure he's mad at her.
Probably.
Yeah, he could have approached it, for example, as because he was talking like he could have approached it. Even he could have approached the way Apple is dealing with music and compared it, for example, the way that Getty treats photographers.
There you go.
And that would have been way more interesting because then you would go straight on the issues of photo rights. And well, Getty is in trouble financially these days, so it's even for them. It's not a sustainable model. But
we should talk about that at a future discussion. We talk about that. How basically how wire companies are they on the way out? You know, with this entire thing. But let's not get into that right now. Otherwise, we're just going to go into
this would not end.
But that's a good topic. Thank you, Dims. That's a good topic. Wow. I was trying to see what am I going to talk about the next time. But man, I'm so rude because I usually start the episode while presenting my guest, and I'm ending it with presenting my guest. But hey, we're just a basic round table. I'm basically gonna put all you guys' links in the show notes when the episode goes live. As soon as I'm done. Thank you for your patience beforehand. But Zims, where can we find you? Come on, just a little bit about yourself. What do you shoot? Where can we find you on the interwebs?
Well, right now I don't have an actual website, but most of my I know, but it's because I can't settle right now on a host and on a format, and like I want to do it well, so but yeah. Eventually, but for now, 500px / Dimitri Russo. Some of professional work is there. A little bit of stock that I'm trying to sell. That's why I was trying to get that Getty topic in there, because stock is not an easy way to make money. But anyway, and what do I shoot? For personal stuff, mostly street. I've got into landscape a lot last year when I was traveling in America. Portraits. I had my first show was actually portraits, and professionally, mostly these days, lifestyle, so weddings, maternity. I did a couple first maternity shots ever, baby showers, and events, concerts, and performing arts in general. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Wow. Basically, you've got a wonderful array of skills. See, this is why I love you guys. See, you're all the bunch of wonderful stuff I don't do.
Exactly. Like I said, landscape is something that I just started doing, so it's never you just say,
You just
okay.
gotta start doing it.
You just want to start.
You just have to. You just have to. You know, you guys know I'm poking fun. You just because I'm just ashamed I've been a little bit lazy over the past year, but I'm starting again. As you see, like, you know, I'm putting some more juice in the blog and everything.
You're back on Facebook.
Back on Facebook. I'm back on Facebook. It took a while. But you guys have been running after. It's like, okay, you know what? Fine. Let's try and do this. Like, you know, might as well. Kolali, wonderful friend, and, like, you know, my go-to photo editor / critique person. What do you do? Who are you? Where can we find you? We see your website, but just a little bit snippet about you, my dear.
Yeah, well, as you can see, my website is written right there.
Yeah.
Right there. I shoot mostly I shoot concerts. I shoot for the Montreal Symphony Orchestra, so I shoot concerts and events with them. Recently started shooting headshots as well. I have a few musicians who were referred to, were referred to me, or I was referred to them, or whatever. So I shoot headshots, I shoot events, and I shoot food. I have to say I haven't shot food in a long time, so I have to pretend that I shoot food, but I should be shooting more food.
Chocolate!
Yeah, something like that. And I shoot portraits as well. I have shot weddings. I'm not too keen on the wedding scene yet, but maybe I'll try to get back to it. But for the moment, it's not my priority. It's not my favorite thing in the world. And in terms of personal work, I shoot a lot of abstract work. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And you can find me right there.
CurlyWord.com.
Right there at the .com situation. Dimitri, you should just check out Verb for hosting. They're pretty good.
Yeah, I've heard great things.
Yeah, I've heard good things about them too. Heard good things about them. Vivardi, last but certainly not least, good friend, and seriously, like, you know, I go to your Tumblr quite often, and I love what you're doing in terms of personal work. That portrait of Alice is killer. I really like it. You know which one I'm talking about. Like, seriously, it's really killer. Everybody's like, it's not just the hits on Flickr, but it's killer, man. It's like, wow, like, congrats, man. You're really doing some awesome stuff. So that's what I love about the fact that you pointed that out. When you take a step back from all the commercial and you focus on the personal, and tremendous work can come out of it. And as you know, as a feedback, people will respond. And but where can we find you, my friend?
Well, as you said, there's my blog on Tumblr.
On the Tumblr.
And, I don't have a website yet. I'm working on it, but right now I'm taking pictures and make sure I have material to put on there. And mostly
that's always a good idea.
Yeah, and right now I shoot mostly portraits and some streets, but that's what I'm focusing more on right now. I'm having fun, like, learning portraits since that photo shoot with Daddy's actually. So as I said, personal work leads you to get more contracts in that field because actually make better stuff. So
get better every day.
So I do events and stuff like that on the side, but I really, right now, most of my contracts are portraits.
That's good. Guys, thank you so much for your time and insight. It was such a delightful time. Again, I'll be putting all the links, all the information, all the websites where it is due, and all the interwebs on the Twitter and everything. I'm your delightful host, Olivier D.ca. I'm like here was
yeah, it's hard to find it.
big finger, like right here. Not just doing some shameless plug live from the man cave. But as everybody's just watching this on video, it was just a default. Everybody decided, like, really last minute that we're going to go black and white. This was kind of fun.
Yeah.
I like it.
I can't wait to see the final
Might start a
product.
trend.
This just might start a trend. Like, why not? Like, probably do this at the next broadcast. But then again, I can only thank you so much for your time and insight, guys. Again, episode 10 wrapping up, and I'll put the blog entry as soon as it's available on the Facebook. And yeah, like, share, any which way you can, give us some juice. It's always appreciated. But as always, surrounding myself with the smartest people I know, and wishing you guys a terrific evening. And as always, with with all the skill, we'll probably do another photo walk sometime. I still have to work on those shots.
I'd definitely be up for that.
Definitely.
Yeah, we should.
Hopefully this time though it doesn't come short. Like we have to take the action. We have to take the time.
We have to take the time. Like, we'll plan it better. We'll plan it better. But it was actually a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Anyways, this is us.
And we can always stop at Cardinal for some tea again, like.
I'm totally okay with that.
Oh, man.
We could start with tea and then keep going.
We could start with tea.
Yeah, we could start with tea and then go walking. And then go walking. Yeah, that's a good idea. That's a good format. That's a good format. See? That's it. Planning. See? Just like the way. Like, it's good. I like where this is going. You guys take care. Have an awesome evening. As always, stay awesome, right?
Thanks for having us again.
Thanks. Bye.
Awesome. Bye.